Welcome to Ayur Times. Today we're looking at meal times in Ayurveda, the ancient art of when to eat. We'll explore how this ancient Indian wisdom views, well, when we should eat for better digestion, energy, and just overall wellness. It often seems quite different from our modern habits, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's a fascinating contrast.
Yeah, I mean, modern life often has us, grazing all day or sticking to really rigid schedules, clocks, convenience. That seems to rule. But what's the core Ayurvedic idea about daily eating? It feels like a real challenge to that thinking.
It absolutely is. What's really foundational in Ayurveda is this idea, maybe surprising to some, of eating just one or perhaps two meals daily. And crucially, it emphasizes a very individualized approach. It's not one size fits all.
Individualize, how so?
It's really about aligning with natural rhythms, the body's cycles, the sun cycles, and most importantly, truly listening to your body. Think about it. Eat only when you feel genuine hunger, not just, oh, it's noon, or there's food here. Real hunger.
And thirst too, presumably.
Exactly. Drink water only when genuinely thirsty. And here's a key part. If you don't feel that actual appetite at a scheduled mealtime, the wisdom suggests skipping that meal entirely. Don't force it.
Skip it, wow.
Yes, this mindful approach, listening to internal signals, that's really the cornerstone. It guides us away from constant snacking and rigid clocks. It's about tuning into your unique cues. A complete paradigm shift for many, like you said.
That idea of tuning in, not just following a clock, it feels so right, but, so often overlooked in our busy lives. Now, this idea of just one meal a day, that sounds pretty radical for a lot of people, maybe even a bit intimidating. How does Ayurveda approach the timing for that single meal, and what are the specific benefits it's aiming for?
Right, it can sound extreme initially, but the approach is quite specific about timing, and interestingly, it's often linked closely to seasonal changes. Shows that connection to nature again.
Seasonal changes, okay.
Yes. For instance, during, say, winter-long nights, short days, the recommendation is often to eat during purvana, that's the morning hours, maybe 3 to 4 hours after sunrise. Gives the body time to build digestive fire.
Uh-huh. Okay. And other seasons?
Well, for times with more equal nights and days, like spring and fall, Madhyana midday, essentially between 12:00 p.m. is considered ideal. And then in summer, with short nights and long hot days, Aparana the afternoon is suggested. Why? Because that's when your digestive fire, your Agni, is thought to be naturally strongest.
So the underlying idea is that Agni, our digestive power, it fluctuates. It's not constant.
Exactly. It ebbs and flows with the day, with the seasons. Meal timing becomes a tool to work with that natural strength, not against it.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But for applying this consistently, year-round in our modern lives, which timing usually works best?
Right. For practicality and consistency today, that midday meal, typically between 12:00 p.m. and 3:00 p.m., is generally the most recommended year-round. Because, almost universally, that aligns with when our digestive fire, our Agni, is naturally at its absolute peak. Best absorption, best assimilation.
Okay, peak digestive power. Makes sense.
But, and this is important, if you do opt for this single meal, it has to be nutritionally complete, really complete. We're talking a good mix. Fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, nuts, seeds, everything the body needs.
It's not about starving yourself.
Not at all. It's about efficient, potent nourishment packed into that one optimal window.
Okay, leveraging the body's peak power. I get that. So who is this one meal a day approach really best suited for? And just as crucial, who should probably steer clear?
Good question. It seems particularly beneficial for people looking for enhanced mental clarity, maybe deeper spiritual insight that's often mentioned. It's also frequently recommended for managing kapha-dominant conditions.
Kapha. So tendencies towards slower metabolism, maybe weight gain, sluggishness.
Exactly, those kinds of patterns. And it's also suggested for managing certain lifestyle disorders, things like obesity, potentially heart disease, diabetes, hypertension. The key benefit, and it's a big one, is that it significantly reduces the metabolic load on the system.
Less work of the body.
Precisely. It gives the body these long, uninterrupted periods for repair, restoration, detoxification, instead of constantly digesting, which is actually a very demanding process.
That sounds amazing, honestly, especially for mental sharpness and letting the body recover.
Yeah.
But like you said, it can't be for everyone. What are the definite no-goes? When is this approach not right?
You're absolutely right. It's definitely not universal. It's generally not suitable if someone is underweight or malnourished. They
Wow.
need more consistent fuel.
Right, that makes sense.
Also, usually not recommended if you have strong Vata imbalances, think Anxiety, irregular digestion, feeling scattered, or increased pitta disorders.
So excess heat,
Mm.
inflammation, maybe really intense hunger.
Yes, those kinds of fiery imbalances. The single meal might aggravate them. And of course, it's not suitable for pregnant or nursing individuals or anyone still growing children, adolescents. Their energy needs are different and more constant.
So growing bodies, pregnancy, specific imbalances, they need more frequent nourishment.
Exactly. They
Yeah.
need that steady fuel for balance, development, and overall health. A single meal likely wouldn't provide that consistently.
It's such a clear reminder that personalization is key in health, isn't it?
Hmm.
What works wonders for one person might not for another. So while the one meal approach has its place, maybe the more adaptable path for many is the two-meal pattern. That sounds, well, potentially more accessible for modern life.
Mm.
What did the classical Ayurvedic texts say about this more balanced approach?
Yes, the 2 meals a day plan is very well documented. You find it in major texts like Shruta Samhita and Ashtanga Hridaya. It's considered a very standard, balanced way. Traditionally, the timing is quite specific again. The first meal around 3 hours and 45 minutes after sunrise, and the second meal is timed about 3 hours before sunset. It's all linked to the sun cycle and Agni's rhythm.
Right. So how does that translate for us practically with clocks?
For modern schedules, it roughly translates to maybe 8:00 to 10:10 a.m. for that morning or first meal. And then the second or afternoon meal would fall somewhere between 3:00 and 5:00 p.m.
8 to 10 a.m. and 3 to 5 p.m. Interesting timing for the second meal, earlier than many people eat dinner.
It is, and that structure provides a clear, supportive framework. Again, it's about harmonizing with the body's innate digestive wisdom, not fighting it with late-night meals.
It's fascinating how this pattern is designed to support digestion by giving those distinct windows. What are the main benefits of this two-meal way? Why is it often seen as so balanced?
Well, it really hits a sweet spot, you could say. It provides adequate nutrition, enough energy, but without overwhelming the digestive system. It allows for sufficient rest between meals, which is key for maintaining a strong, consistent digestive fire, that Agni.
So you avoid being undernourished, but also avoid overeating.
Exactly. It prevents both ends of the spectrum feeling weak or unsatisfied from too little, or feeling sluggish and heavy from too much. Plus, it tends to support more stable energy levels throughout the day. You avoid those big peaks and crashes you might get from grazing constantly, or even the adaptation challenges of a single meal.
And suitability. Is this one more broadly applicable?
Yes, very much so. Unlike the one-meal approach, this pattern is generally suitable for almost everyone. Children, pregnant individuals, people with various health conditions. It's very adaptable.
A more forgiving framework.
You could say that. It offers consistent energy without overburdening the Agni. And the texts are quite clear. Eating too little leads to loss of strength and feeling unsatisfied. But eating too much, that leads to laziness, bloating, and actually weakening the digestive fire over time.
So finding that just right amount within those two meal windows is crucial.
Absolutely key. That balance is central to the whole approach.
Okay, that provides a really practical structure. But, life happens. Things aren't always perfect. What if, say, your morning meal just isn't fully digested by the time that 3 to 5 p.m. window rolls around? What if you still feel kind of full or heavy? How does Ayurveda guide us then?
That's a really important practical question, and Ayurveda offers some clear, quite intuitive guidance here. Interestingly, if your morning meal isn't fully digested by the evening mealtime, it's generally considered okay to still eat your evening meal as scheduled.
Oh, really? Even if you feel a bit full?
Generally, yes. The digestive system is expected to handle that occasional overlap, especially since the evening meal might be lighter. However, and this is the crucial difference, you should never consume your morning meal if the previous evening's food feels undigested.
Ah, okay. So don't eat breakfast if last night's dinner is still sitting there.
Precisely. That's a much bigger digestive burden. It's really vital to wait. Wait until you feel genuine hunger return and your bowels have cleared. Those are the body's clear, undeniable signals that the previous meal is processed, your Agni is ready, and your system is prepared for more food.
Listen to the body's signals, especially in the morning. That's a very clear takeaway. Don't force breakfast onto an undigested dinner.
Exactly. Ignoring those signals can lead to buildup of undigested metabolic waste or toxins and create imbalance.
Got it. And what about water? We talked about drinking when thirsty. Does that rule still apply strictly around these meal patterns?
Yes, hydration is basically the exception to the strict mealtime rules. You should absolutely drink water whenever you feel thirsty.
Regardless of when you last ate or plan to eat.
Yes. Thirst is the body's direct signal. Proper hydration actually supports digestion. It doesn't overload it like improperly timed food can. It keeps everything flowing, keeps Agni healthy without dampening it.
Okay, so water is always okay when thirsty. Now, what if someone regularly finds their meals aren't digesting well between these windows? Like they frequently feel heavy before the next meal.
That's a really good point. If you find yourself regularly experiencing that incomplete digestion feeling, that frequent heaviness, even hours later, that could be a signal from your body. It might indicate that your digestive fire isn't quite robust enough for the two-meal pattern as it stands.
That could mean.
It could mean that the one meal a day approach, allowing that much longer digestive rest, might actually suit your unique constitution and current digestive strength better.
Interesting. So persistent digestive issues are a cue to reassess the pattern.
Definitely. It's a clear sign from your body to perhaps adjust your eating frequency for optimal well-being. It's a feedback loop.
That's incredibly helpful for self-assessment. So wrapping this up for someone listening, thinking about these two powerful Ayurvedic patterns, how do they choose? How do they figure out which is right for them? Seems like it needs real self-awareness.
You've absolutely nailed it. The ideal pattern truly depends on your unique constitution, your prakriti, and any current imbalances, your vikriti. Plus, your lifestyle, your age, your health goals. Think about how you feel. Do you thrive on steady energy, or do you find clarity in longer fasting periods? Are you naturally prone to feeling heavy, kapha, or maybe fiery and intensely hungry, pitta, or perhaps variable and anxious, vata?
So reflecting on your own tendencies.
Exactly. The one meal a day, as we said, often suits those seeking mental clarity, spiritual growth, or managing kapha issues and certain lifestyle disorders. That 12:003.00 p.m. window is key there. But again, not generally for kids, pregnancy, or significant vata pitta issues.
Right.
Whereas the 2 meals a day plan, 8.00, 10.000, and 3.00, 5.000, roughly that's suitable for most people, it balances nourishment and rest really well, especially good for children, pregnancy, and generally maintaining health or supporting healing. It offers steady energy without the strain.
So the core message is flexibility and listening.
Absolutely. Flexibility and personalization. The best approach is the one that consistently keeps your digestion strong, your energy stable, and supports your overall feeling of well-being. Tune into your body's signals. That's the ultimate guide.
So as you listening, consider these ancient principles. Maybe take a moment to think. What does it truly mean for you to listen to your body's signals? Especially in our world, full of external demands and endless advice, how might integrating some of this Ayurvedic mealtime wisdom actually change your daily energy, your digestion, perhaps your overall sense of well-being? Something to reflect on. If you found this discussion insightful and want to explore more about health and wellness through this lens, be sure to subscribe to the Ayur Times channel. You won't miss future explorations, and we genuinely love hearing from you. If you have thoughts or questions that came up during our chat, please feel free to ask by commenting below.